Battle between the Infosys board and its founders, exacerbated post the resignation of Vishal Sikka last Friday, continues to be our top focus this Wednesday evening. And over the last 12 hours, there have been three crucial developments. Let's quickly take you through all of those. First, late last night, CNBC TV18 broke the news that several leading institutional investors have written to the board asking for Nandan Nilekani to be appointed as a director. The investors wrote, and I quote, "In our opinion, Nandan Nilekani enjoys the confidence of various stakeholders vis-a-vis customers, shareholders and employees. Given his credentials, we feel that his joining the board at this stage will restore confidence of stakeholders in the company and also facilitate the resolution of the contentious issues that Infosys is facing presently." Now, that's the letter that came in from domestic institutional investors to the Infosys board. The second big development, Infosys co-founder N.R. Narayanamurthy was supposed to address investors today for the first time post Vishal Sikka's resignation from the post of managing director and CEO. Remember that both the Infosys board and Sikka cited Murthy's constant bickering and personal attacks as the reason behind that decision. But earlier today, Mr. Murthy rescheduled the conference to the 29th of August, citing health reasons. And then the big CNBC TV18 exclusive news break that we broke this morning. We learned from sources that Nandan Nilekani may be brought back to head Infosys, at least for now. What I am also given to understand is we could have more clarity on this over the next 48 hours. What is going to be the exact role, designation, etc. Those are matters that are under consideration at this point in time. But Nandan Nilekani could be the man who tries to steer the ship through troubled waters. For more, we're now joined by the former CFO of Infosys, V. Balakrishnan. Bala, domestic institutional investors writing to the Infosys board seeking the return of Nandan as a director. You on my program have also several times spoken of the need to reconstitute the board for the chairman and the co-chairman to resign. And you've also said that it would be a good idea to bring Nandan back because he has the authority, the credentials, and will act as a bridge between the old and the new. If this were to go through, do you believe that this could be the start of the repair process?
I think so. I think the core issue at Infosys today is the governance issue, the failure of the board, and the resultant destruction of shareholders' value. So I think a person like Nandan coming as chairman of the board and stabilizing the ship will give comfort to all the stakeholders, whether it's the employees, investors or clients. Because Nandan is a very good global face. He is well recognized both in India and outside India. He is part of Aadhaar, which is a large complex project implementation in the government of India. Yeah. And he had a great strength earlier in Infosys. So I think a face like him coming to the Infi board will stabilize the whole ship.
You're saying that Nandan will come back as chairman, and as I pointed out, and I have been pointing that out through the morning when I broke the story, that I still don't have confirmation on the exact role and designation that Nandan will perhaps come back as. Is he going to be the replacement for Vishal Sikka? Is he going to come and replace, for instance, the current chairman, Seshasai and Ravi Venkateshan? Those are questions I'm still waiting for answers to. But in your assessment, do you think that if at all Nandan returns, it would be in the capacity of chairman?
Yeah, see, Nandan coming back is speculative at this point of time. I don't know whether the board has reached out to him or whether he has shown any intent, because last time when Nandan was approached, he clearly said he had no interest. So even if you assume Nandan comes back, my view is he should come as a chairman of the board, and I think he has to reconstitute the board. Some of the members, like the current chair and co-chair, should step down because there was a huge governance failure and destruction of shareholders' value. He has to reconstitute the board and help in identifying a good CEO and create some kind of a balance between founders, the board and the institutional shareholders. I think a person like him will be able to get all the people together and find no ideal solution.
If we were to look at some of the constituents of the board, Mr. Seshasai, the current chairman, his term, I'm given to understand, ends in 2018. Mr. Lehman's term, I think, is another 6 months away from its end as well. So do you see the possibility of at least individuals whose term is close to expiration, perhaps being the ones who may tender in their resignation, who may decide to hang up their boots, so to speak? And also, do you believe, and this is an assumption we're making at this point in time that Nandan is going to return, that this will be an interim solution till they actually find the right man to replace Vishal Sikka?
No, I think the company will not be able to attract any good CEO candidate unless you fix a core issue in the company, that is the board governance. So you have to find a solution to get a balanced board which will take care of interests of all the shareholders, bring in confidence, bring in back the values, governance and other core principles of Infosys. So I think the starting point for selecting a good CEO is to have a balanced board. That is where I believe Nandan coming back will be good. He should become the chairman, reconstitute the board, because some of the failures happened in Infosys. The board has not fixed any responsibility. I clearly believe at least 4 people should go. The chairman, the co-chairman, the head of audit committee and head of nomination committee. Because if you look at all the failures which happened on the governance front, I think these are the people who are responsible. So I definitely believe that board has to be reconstituted first before you search for a good CEO.
Okay, let me end then, Bala, by asking you, I mean, you've spent many years working with Nandan. Nandan decided to even leave Infosys before Mr. Murthy gave up on Infosys, so to speak. And as you rightly pointed out, there has been a hesitation for him to return to Infosys in any formal capacity because he has, in a sense, moved on. So do you think that this really, in a sense, is Nandan's way of trying to rescue the company he founded? If at all he does agree to do this.
I think for all of us, including Murthy and Nandan, we are both a financial institution, also an emotional investor in the institution called Infosys. So when the institution is in crisis and you need some of us to step in and bring some kind of a semblance, I think the board, if they approach them, probably they may consider, because majority of the wealth of all the founders is in Infosys stock. Majority of the emotional investment is in that stock. So I think if the appropriate approaches happen, probably they may consider, I don't know.
Well, we will have to wait for an official confirmation. As I've been pointing out, I have tried to reach out to Mr. Murthy, to Nandan himself, to Mr. Seshasai, as well as Ravi Venkateshan, but no response so far. This is, of course, source-based information. Bala, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC TV 18.